Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. It's with gratitude and a certain degree of humility that I have accepted to take up this new challenge in a life in which I've had a number of different ones, including that of being president of my country, of being president of a good many scholarly and scientific associations, vice chairman of the Science Council of Canada when I was still living as an exile before my country was free again, and so on. And currently, I also have the privilege of leading the World Leadership Alliance at Club de Madrid, which is a body of close to 100 former presidents and prime ministers of over 60 different countries, which is volunteer work on our part, and we have, over the past 10 years, engaged in a variety of projects for the strengthening of democracy in many parts of the world. We currently have projects going on with Tunisia and with Moldova and with Haiti. We're hoping to go into Myanmar. We've had preliminary missions there, and the focus changes in terms of each country, but our fundamental aim is to help countries on their way to what we call shared societies, societies which are a true expression of democracy, where nobody is left behind, and where everybody has an equal chance of participating in the welfare and the prosperity of the society. During my term as president, I had the privilege of meeting with the various chambers of commerce that had offices in Latvia while they were operating in that region. Some of them were head offices for the Baltic region, where others were specifically located for Latvia. And I had occasion to see how beneficial the cooperation and the friendly exchange of information could be to those businessmen engaged in a certain geographic area, both in their case coming from a certain part of the world and then operating in a certain part of the world. Now your body is much more ambitious, it's much more broad, but if the world has not become flat because of communications, that is a metaphor which I'm not sure is the best one. I was addressing yesterday a program of Northern and Central European countries' space technology consortium together organized with the African Union. And I was telling them, well, I think I can repeat to you, that the world may have not become flat, but when you look at it from space, it has certainly shrunk in size. And so that physical distances between countries are no longer the barrier that they used to be. Either the communication, which can happen instantly from any place in the world, practically with very short delay, and certainly the globalized economy has become such that parts of the world we used to think of as being, for instance, left behind. Well, Africa is the fastest growing continent of them all, and obviously many other continents will be turning their eyes to it as well. Meanwhile, Europe has been a leader in its economic growth. And in spite of the crisis of 2008, in spite of the unemployment that has hit many parts, especially youth unemployment, we must remember that the European Union is still, even at this moment of difficulties, an economic giant as far as the world goes. You have countries that have an enormous territory, but that do not necessarily have an equivalent economic weight. And if they did not have, for instance, natural resources that happen to peak in price at certain periods in history, their economies would not be competitive, I think, on the world scale at all. You know as well as people involved in business that cyclicity is an inherent part of free markets, and that what is going up one day will plateau at some point and risks to go down unless you change strategies, unless you look for new markets, unless you innovate, unless you come with new products that the public didn't even know that they liked, wanted and needed before you actually created them and proposed them. I should be very happy to work with you because I think that the prosperity of populations has a great deal to do with the quality of life and quality of democracy in these countries. Having money does not necessarily ensure that you will live in a democratic country. A country that has huge resources, and as in some parts of Africa, this is only the source of civil war and of strife and of instability in the country. Having resources can sometimes be a curse rather than a blessing. But general, a stable, well-developed, diversified economy, and in the future we very much hope a sustainable economy, one that takes into account the limitations of our planet as well as the requirements of its human populations. Such a development definitely will help to stabilize those parts of the world which are currently in brutal and bloody conflict, and it should also increase the area in which human beings are treated with dignity, with the rule of law, where they have access to clean drinking water, where their life expectancy is not dramatically lower than that in other parts of the world, and where they can expect to be treated with respect by their government institutions and security. The wars of religion, the wars for territories, the wars for resources that have led this continent so often and often been followed by horrible plagues. Europe has tried to build up a model of coexistence and collaboration between nations which is voluntarily engaged, which is not enforced by somebody from outside. And in such a manner it has managed to continue for this over half a century now, not only to thrive, but to accept and integrate those countries that had been forced to follow a different experiment, that of communism, for the same period of time. An experiment that we can consider, for all intents and purposes, a failure both economically and socially. And now we have the challenge of creating both a Europe and a world where in our globalized communications and our globalized economy, a growing population of human beings can continue to live in peace and hopefully in prosperity, even as we know that the resources of our planet are limited, that we are already committing great mistakes in ensuring the survival of our planet, and that we have a great many challenges ahead of us. But at the same time, this is a very exciting time to be living and to be working in, because the rate of technological innovation has never been so rapid, and there never have been so many chances for people to make fortunes in so short a time. Also to lose them, by the way. Both things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for accepting me in your midst. I can commit myself to doing what is in my power to further your interests, to listen to your opinions, to work together with you for the prosperity of your organizations and for the welfare of all of us together. Thank you very much.